Have you ever wondered what would happen if Giyu Tomioka was reborn with all of his memories? Would he be able to prevent his sister's death? And most importantly, would he still be able to defeat Muzan? Let's find out. When Giyu is reborn, he's completely shocked. At first, he wonders if they actually defeated Muzan, or if this is some new blood demon art. But after some time, he realizes that he has truly been reborn with all of his memories intact. The first thing he does is start training as early as possible so he can protect his sister. However, he's still just a child. No matter how hard he trains, he isn't strong enough to defeat a demon without a Nichirin blade. As a result, his sister still sacrifices herself to save him. Giyu blames himself for wasting this second chance and breaks down in tears. But he refuses to give up because he still has to meet Urokodaki, master water breathing, become a Hashira again, and eventually defeat Muzan. So he continues training until he reaches Urokodaki. Just like before, he meets Sabito and Makomo. This time, however, Giyu is determined not to let either of them die during final selection. Because of his previous experience, he masters water breathing much faster and waits until Sabito and Makomo are ready to join him for final selection. When the exam begins, Giyu heads straight for the hand demon and defeats it in a single strike. As a result, many demon slayers, including Sabito and Makomo, survive. From there, Giyu's story follows a similar path, except he becomes a Hashira much earlier and is significantly stronger than in the original timeline. Now let's talk about Tanjiro. The night arrives when Tanjiro leaves home to sell charcoal. Giyu already knows what's about to happen and heads toward Tanjiro's house. But deep down, he's afraid. He knows he can't defeat Muzan by himself, and he can't risk pulling other Hashira away from their duties. So he approaches alone, but ultimately stops himself. If he dies here, everyone will lose the final battle against Muzan. The next day, when Tanjiro is carrying Nezuko through the snow, Giyu doesn't try to kill her. Instead, he tells Tanjiro to take Nezuko to Urokodaki. Tanjiro trains alongside Sabito and Makomo, which helps him improve faster, though it still takes nearly 2 years to master water breathing and pass final selection. When he returns to Urokodaki's house afterward, Giyu, Sabito, and Makomo are there to celebrate his success. Tanjiro's journey mostly follows the original story. He meets Muzan and Tamayo in Asakusa, and later befriends Zenitsu and Inosuke. They successfully clear the forest arc as well. Giyu deliberately avoids interfering too much because he wants Tanjiro to grow naturally and develop his skills, just as he did in the original timeline. At the Butterfly Mansion, things don't change much. Could Giyu convince everyone about Nezuko? Probably not. We know Giyu isn't exactly the best communicator. He couldn't convince people in the original story either. Fortunately, Nezuko proves herself by not attacking humans, so everyone eventually accepts her. The main cast recovers quickly, and now it's time for the Mugen Train arc. This is where things get interesting. Giyu knows Rengoku is destined to die. He also knows about Akaza's compass needle technique. Before the mission begins, he secretly warns Rengoku about it. However, both Giyu and the audience know that Rengoku's fighting spirit makes compass needle especially effective against him. So Giyu secretly follows the train, but doesn't tell Tanjiro. After Enmu is defeated, Akaza arrives and attacks Tanjiro. Rengoku protects him, and their battle begins. Giyu hides his presence because he doesn't want Akaza to become serious too early. He waits until Rengoku is exhausted, and Akaza is about to land the finishing blow. Then Giyu suddenly appears. Now Akaza has to fight both Giyu and Rengoku. Tanjiro and Inosuke also join with the little strength they have left. When sunrise approaches, Akaza tries to escape just like in the original story. But this time, with Giyu's help, they manage to hold him in place until sunlight turns him to dust. Rengoku survives. This changes everything because Tanjiro now gains Rengoku as a mentor. After recovering, Rengoku begins researching sun breathing with Tanjiro. During the Entertainment District arc, Giyu doesn't interfere because he knows the heroes can defeat Upper Moon 6 without casualties. Tanjiro still awakens his Demon Slayer mark, which is extremely important. In fact, Giyu intentionally stays out of the fight because Tanjiro needed to be pushed to his limits to unlock that power. The Swordsmith Village arc also proceeds mostly the same way. Tanjiro, Muichiro, and Mitsuri awaken their Demon Slayer marks. Most importantly, Nezuko conquers sunlight. This confirms that Muzan will eventually come for her. Because Giyu already knows this, he can accurately predict when the final battle is approaching. He also knows about Kagaya Ubuyashiki's sacrifice. Could he stop it? No. Giyu understands that Kagaya's plan worked in the original timeline, and that his mind is already made up. Hashira training becomes even more effective because Rengoku is still alive. Rengoku personally trains Tanjiro, improving his physical conditioning and helping him adapt to sun breathing. They also spar frequently, greatly increasing Tanjiro's endurance. Eventually, everyone finishes training and prepares for the final battle. Before the battle begins, Giyu gathers the Hashira and explains everything he knows about Infinity Castle. He warns them that avoiding the castle is impossible because Muzan already knows where everyone is. His strategy is simple: stay in pairs at all times. With Rengoku alive, they have an extra Hashira, making things much easier than before. The final night arrives. Kagaya sacrifices himself and severely injures Muzan with the explosion. Tamayo injects her poison. The Hashira launch their assault. This time, Giyu and Shinobu go after Doma. Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Rengoku hunt Kokushibo. Mitsuri and Obanai target Nakime. Against Doma, Shinobu's fate sadly doesn't change. Even with Giyu helping her, defeating Doma without her poison sacrifice is nearly impossible. Eventually, Shinobu still allows herself to be absorbed. Later, Giyu, Inosuke, and Kanao work together to kill Doma. Meanwhile, the battle against Kokushibo becomes far more manageable. With Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, Genya, and Rengoku fighting together, they push Kokushibo much harder than before. After an intense battle, they successfully defeat him. As a result, both Muichiro and Genya survive. Mitsuri and Obanai locate Nakime much faster. With Yushiro's help, they destroy Infinity Castle and regroup outside. Now, every surviving Hashira joins forces against Muzan. Together, they overwhelm him. Many awaken their red blades, further weakening Muzan. After a long and brutal fight, they finally hold him in place until sunrise. Just as Muzan attempts to turn Tanjiro into the next Demon King, Giyu quickly pulls Tanjiro away. Muzan's final plan fails. The sunlight destroys him. All demons disappear forever. And unlike the original story, many more Hashira survive the final battle.